Why are tech stocks selling off? And here we're specifically looking at Nvidia or NVDA, however you want to say it, because the weekly chart just broke down or failed to hold the previous weekly low. And this is very important because they report earnings tomorrow after the bell at 4:20, and the S&P's price index versus earnings is really, really important. So tomorrow, arguably the most important stock for the entire market is going to report, and we're going to find out whether or not we're overpriced or not. So stay tuned. And in today's show, we're going to walk you through all of that and more. Specifically, that the leaders of so far this year, specifically, we're looking at Eli Lilly and looking here at Nvidia. Well, so far today, they're down, and so is Tesla. So we understand that these ones are probably getting a little bit of profit taking, but what's happening with Tesla just before we look at these other stocks? China EV giant BYD kicks off latest price war. It's going to get a lot worse. Oof, that looks painful. China's EV rush into Western markets risks ending in a bloodbath for the industry, warns founder of Tesla rival XPeng. Oh, that sounds fun. And just before we look at Nvidia, I want to show you two more quick charts because I think I forgot to do that at the beginning here. So Nvidia is the most important single stock, but we often talk about how chips lead tech and tech lead SPY. So what I want to walk you through today is, again, later in the show, we're going to go through the notes that we had for the weekend, which are pretty much here. Again, just stay tuned. We'll go through all this. I'll give you an update. But what I just want to show you is that if chips lead tech and tech lead SPY, yes, Nvidia failed. But this is actually a failed breakdown for now, right? It's only Tuesday. It's been one session. What do we note? We're back above the previous candle low. So this right now gives us a level of risk, or basically an area we want the bulls to defend to show us whether or not they still got it. Because if they do, a failed breakdown can lead to a rally, just like it did over here. All right, so that's SMH. Let's look at QQQ. All right, so here we're looking at the Qs or QQQ, and what do we know? Let's just hide everything, make it nice and easy to see. It's the same pattern. We have a breakdown, but then we fail to hold it. That is a failed breakdown. So both these charts show us the same thing. So if Nvidia broke down, but the ETFs did not, what's the risk here? Well, they're telling us that it's FOMO showtime. So risks to Goldilocks, sticky inflation, elevated valuations, extended positioning, blah, 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 right? The stock that is the market. Nvidia could alter the FOMO momentum. Oh, FOMO momentum? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to scare us? Well, it seems like it because on Friday we closed at 75 and today we're here at 67. That's a pretty big knock. And we've been talking about how we want to maintain the extreme greed area. Otherwise, we go from extreme greed to fear, greed, and we're like kind of bouncing all around here, right? Big cut, snapping right back. Well, we don't know what's going to snap back or not. So there's more for us to go into Nvidia. I talked about this on the weekend. I want you to just make sure that you're ready for everything we could go through here. So I want to be mindful of time. But what it really comes down to is whether it's, again, that we heard about the bear story from Evercore ISI. Now we hear Loop here giving them a new straight high where they think the stock is going to double to go to 1,200. Whoa. And they're saying it's 1995. We're going to party like it's 1995. I'm going to ask you for a huge favor. If you could please consider smashing that thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much ahead of time. You guys were such a great help to boost that channel on the weekend. So this really matters because without the Magnificent Seven, there's basically been very muted gains. We go to a year ago, the S&P is up by Mag 7 index, X Mag 7, 10%. That's a lot less than 60. So without the Magnificent Seven, it's been basically 6 times worse. It's really important these stocks pick up. What else do I got here? We talked about year-to-date gains, went through that on the weekend, not going to repeat that. The report earnings on Wednesday. We talked about how Nvidia is actually less priced than its 10-year average. So even though everyone's crying dragon tears that, oh my God, it's so high. Well, that really comes down to whether it's 1999 or 1995. And this is what really resonated with me. I'll show you again here really briefly. It's a video from MKBH, Marcus Brownlee over on YouTube. Video from about a year ago. That's Will Smith. Does that look real? It doesn't to me. Yeah, that looks pretty fake. And then remember, Moore's law means that the technology doubles, right? Every time. It's like every 12 months. Well, look at these videos now. These are AI generated. Whoa, that looks pretty realistic. Yeah, it does. Looks pretty realistic. This as well. Is it perfect? No. If you didn't tell me it was AI generated, I probably wouldn't second guess it though. Oh, this looks pretty real too. And we even got little puppies and we got astronauts. This looks pretty real. All right. Oh, wow. Okay, well, yeah, that's cool to see. We're going to see what Nvidia is going to tell us tomorrow. If this is the stock of the entire market, as we showed you here in the very first slide, right, blah, blah, blah. Nvidia could alter the FOMO momentum, upside or downside. I don't know, right? This is the stock that is the market. Well, it didn't break down these ETFs yet, but I can almost guarantee that with Nvidia's earnings, as we look here to its daily chart again, NVDA, we go here to the daily chart. 1 second, daily chart. What happened? Well, it actually broke down. So we had this massive, huge uptrend we were maintaining for a large part of the year, and now we just lost it. So we're not sure if we're still going up. If we're not going up at this angle of ascent, we might have to come back down to the 50 MA, back down to the uptrend. And right now, the implied move for Nvidia is 11%. So what does that mean? It means a massive move. It means it's going to be moving roughly $170 billion tomorrow at 420. It's either going to add the equivalent of roughly a Disney, or it's going to delete it. Oh, wow, really? Yeah, really. That's a big deal. Here's something else I find really interesting that relates specifically to today. 3 upgrades. Goldman goes first. They lift the S&P target with profit optimism to drive the rally to 5,200 by the end of the year. Okay. JP Morgan follows suit. 5,200 by the end of the year, raising it 500 points from 4,700. And then UBS goes to 5,400. These guys seem like they're bullish on Nvidia. That's what it seems like. They want to get their numbers in ahead of time. And there's some interesting data coming out of Canada today telling us that the inflation rate tumbles to 2.9, the number we were hoping for out of the US last month. So let's see whether or not this actually goes over to the US. So I've shown you a lot of information so far. What I also want to do, and I'm trying to keep things simple because I think I did a great job on the weekend video, but there's 2 more things that really stuck out to me. It was RSP, and RSP is only closing marginally red today, down by 0.23. Versus this indicator here, which is S5TH, which is going to be the stocks above or below their, this one here. S&P 500 stocks above their 50 DMA. Well, this one here is just pointing straight down. So something really funky is happening, and I did talk about this on the weekend. So I encourage you to watch them on there. We'll leave it at the end. And what I want to do now is just give a brief update to the weekend notes. So if we have a look here, we just talked about S5, F5 versus RSP. We went through this on the pre-market show this morning for the live stream. I encourage you to watch it if you want to see it. I also mentioned how I think that the first half and second half of the week are going to be opposite. So what does that mean? Let's go look here to QQQ, because S&P did not break down. So if again, keyword here being if I'm right and it does what I want, this should be the low of the week. We should rally from here. We should go higher, right? That's what I'm expecting. I could be dead wrong. I know where I'm going to be dead wrong. And I mentioned it before too. So I went through that on the weekend. And remember, tomorrow we also have the Fed meeting minutes coming out at 2:00. So that's it for today's show. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. The weekend deep dive is now over here on the left-hand side if you want to watch that. If not, subscribe on the right. And I look forward to seeing you on the pre-market show tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thank you so much.